All right, this is Black Science TV 111, Osei Kufuor. I just want to come and say thank you all for all of my supporters who support in the United States of Africa. The numbers is rising daily, and I love the way the frequency is vibration on a high frequency. But to get into the tuning of the brain, now we all have been indoctrinated or been conditioned to think that there's only one brain that is comprised within the human body. But within the human body of the black man and woman, we have three types of brains. We have something that's called cone cells, we have the third eye, and we have the brain, which is an organ. The sun has 120 million cone cells, which interacts with the 120 million cells that's comprised within the retina, which is the eyes, which is connected to the brain. And by way of photosynthesis, this is the way that those cells communicate with the cells of the retina from the sun's brain, because the sun has a brain as well. Now, when we study the universe, we have to understand that the universe has a radiation of a black body that consists or comprised of dark matter. The dark matter is, the scientists try to hide this. Because if we find out that when we study that dark matter in the universe, that is very well identical to the melanin that we have within our biological or biochemical structure as black people, then it will make them appear to be inferior or to be inferior. So, when we look up at the universe, we must understand that this is not for play, because we are really and truly looking at ourselves. Do you understand? So, cells that's comprised within the retina of our eyes by way of photosynthesis communicates with the cells of the sun. And the cells of the sun is being produced by way of the universal structure or diagram of the equator. The equator is our spiritual brain. Anytime the universe shift, or anytime the astrological point shift, which has something to do with our brain, causes us to shift as well. All right? So, this is why we are considered to be extraterrestrials. It's nothing spooky. We are extraterrestrials because we have extra type of DNA that other people that reside within this earth plane does not have. We have a genetic code that's more comprised of a dominant distribution or a dominant antenna than any other race. When you study white people, you have to understand that these people are more of an inferior diaspora when it comes to being able to function on a 432 hertz. What I mean by that, as human beings, or as the mankind on this universe, we all endowed within a megahertz, and the physical body, which we comprise of, is right now and down on 432 hertz or below. And this is why the frequencies of the universal celestial body, which is trying to inform us of the information that's being created or being given birth by way of the constellational systems, is now being withheld, because they are now studying the black body radiation of black people. And they see that there is something that's being birthed into the universe that is actually coinciding or actually trying to respond to the suppression of black people. So when you study black people and you study the third eye of black people, it is a pyramid. And the pyramid, you have 3 points. The 2 points below the pyramid is the physical eyes. The 1 point below, above the pyramid, is the third eye, which is the antenna, which actually subconsciously communicates with everything outside of ourselves, which is in the reality realm. So when you are studying the physicality of those who are the original people of the universe, you are studying that which is connected to something that is giving birth to a spiritual information, because information comes in many forms. When you study the information of foods, for an example, the information of foods is the ingredients which is endowed within the food circular structure. That's why everything that is round is perfect. Even your cells is round. But electricity travels on a pyramid in a pyramidal form. Everything that has life travels in the form of a pyramid. Did you know that? It's not a straight line. This is why when you go into the hospital and there's a straight line within the machine, that's a death level. That's a death form. So when you study everything, electricity travels within a pyramid form or pyramid state. And when you study black people have 360 million cone-shaped cells which interacts with the electricity that's being dispersed from the general aspect of the sun, which by way of photosynthetic systems or a diagram is a receiver within the melanin. So when you study the types of melanin that we have, it's not a common type of melanin. See, what is a thought comprised of? A thought is an ingredient like food. So when you have a processed food that's being introduced to the body that the thought is being initiated in, the thought itself creates a processed being. And so when you start to think in a processed way, you start to manifest or produce a processed act. And this is where we start to stress, or we start to kill each other or murder each other without any type of emotional feelings. Because emotions is a processed manifestation. You have to understand that our ancestors never endowed on any type of emotions. Fear was introduced to us. Anger was introduced to us by way of ingredients. Your thoughts is an ingredient. You are a product of a body that you are now endowed in or that you occupy for the moment. But every single one of us have an expiration date. So we must understand that we are not what we appear to be because of the retina or the spiritual eyes that we are focusing through or what we see through. So right now, when we look around us, everything appears to be real because there is a satellite that is subconsciously in the brain that is causing this stuff to appear to be a reality, but it is an actual illusion. All right? So as black people, being the extraterrestrials who occupied this plane or third dimension, we must know and understand that we are only on a vacation. This is a vacation for us. So we must not allow emotions to overcome our vacation. This is only a holding cell. We are about to be born or to be birthed into a reality which we come from. So we are actually recycled energy that has been comprised of a body that has been here before. Every black person who I talk to say, I've been here before. You have to understand that you are not the only person who has been here before. All of us have been here before. It's just that we are downloading into our psyche computer, which is our brain, our genetic codes. When you study the computer has megahertz and gigabytes. We are operating on a higher gigabyte than Europeans or white people or crackers. And because we are operating on a higher gigabyte, right, we can go beyond a dimension that has never been mentioned before, even among the highest conscious person on this realm. So you got to understand or understand that there's no such thing as negative and positive. You have to define your own negative and positive, because when you allow anything in the illusion to define your negative and positive, it becomes an imperialistic agenda to control you. And this is where religion comes from. This is where religion comes from. So, when we talk about the North, the South, the East, and the West, we are not talking about anything outside of ourselves. We are talking about something that is actually occupied within ourselves. Our spiritual computer. So, with me saying this, think about it. I need you all to go deep in thought with me for a second. Who said that white was white or black was black? Who said that we even exist? Who said that physicality exists? Who said that spirituality exists? Who said that a soul exists? What is a soul? What is a spiritual being? What is a spiritual element? What is it? Because it was introduced to us after we came out of the womb. We didn't know not any one of these things before we came out of the womb. If you go to a bird, if you go to an ant, If you go to a lion, right? They don't know anything about the stuff that we were introduced to. They don't have a religion. They don't stress. They don't have emotions until those who reside within the illusion introduce it to them. So when we came out of our mother's womb, we were not innocent. We were just beings who were sent from another planet, who were introduced into a laboratory that processed our way of naturality or our way of natural thinking. So when you think on a lower frequency, you are now endowed within the matrix, whatever that is. You are now endowed within the illusion or artificial existence. Because where you live now is the lowest of the low. And everybody that I know is going through something emotionally. Whether it's they can't pay bills, whether they are homeless, but none of this shit exists. This is the standard of rectitude upon those who introduced this shit to us. So now that we are introduced fear, on this realm, we are not able to liberate ourselves because since fear was introduced to us by those who are killing us, we don't have enough superiority to move forward to retaliate against those who introduced it to us. It's not natural to see our children shot down and not react. Even a lion, when you are retaliating against its child, it will attack you because these are the laws of nature. These are the laws of attraction. You don't say 1 + 1 = 0. Something comes after the equal sign. But in our minds, or in our existence today, we have been programmed to think that nothing comes after the 1 + 1. We are stuck in an illusion. You get what I'm saying? So we must start to vibrate on a higher frequency. Because once we vibrate on a higher frequency, we can shift the equator of the universe to work in our favor to get rid of those who are hybrid. Or those hybridized species who are genetically modified, just like the foods that we eat, from something that's natural. See, even though something physically can be more superior than you in the realm that you exist in, doesn't mean that they're necessarily superior than you. It is something that's a part of us in our subconscious mind that's allowing those hybrid beings to be superior to us or to appear to be superior to us, but at an actual time or date, right? They will be able to subsidize the existence of those who appear to be superior to us. No one can be superior to us. Superiority is that which is original. So if you're not original, even though your acts can appear to be superior, you can have systems and governments that rule that which is superior or original. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's superior to you. So even though white people have systems and governments, it doesn't mean that they're superior to you because we don't have it. Because it's not the physicality that we talk about. It's the spiritual superiority. It's the genetic superiority. And this is what Europeans know. They know they have to create something outside of the reality to appear to be more superior than we are. But when we fall into the matrix to think that, it's just like when a doctor tells you have AIDS or something that don't exist and you put it in your mind, then you have created or initiated that thing in your mind and now it's manifested within your body. You can say you have AIDS, right? But the whole time you don't have AIDS. It don't exist. But because they've conditioned us to think that doctors is more superior than us when it comes to health, we give them the leeway to predict who we are, and what we can accumulate within our biological structure. This may be a little too deep for some of y'all, but hopefully you will look over this a few times to see what I'm talking about because I'm giving birth to something. And it's time to graduate or update as they do their technology so that we can awaken in our people something that has been asleep for a long time. You know, even though I have the United States of Africa, I know that it's time for us to evolve into a higher state other than the earth plane. But the United States of Africa will give us common ground to be able to see the things that our ancestors saw 5,000 years ago. They were able to hold systems and dynasties and militaries at a time that we could not experience that, and this is what we hunger for. This is what we thirst for. Even though we shouldn't be looking at it or yearning for it, but when you see the bigger picture, you will see that it's all about the evolution. We are evolving into a higher state. We're not talking about evolving as far as mammals and humans, from mankind and human, or from reptilians or primates. I'm talking about evolving as far as the mind state. When black people's mind state evolve, definitely to its higher state, that which is suppressing them cannot exist anymore. Do you get it? So, it's time for us to wake up. It's time to see ourselves more than below the standards. Because we are more than gods. We are more than that which society within this third dimension paint us to be. We are more than humans. A lot of people say white people are mankind and we're humans. We still are attaching names to ourselves. That's why when people ask me, what am I? What religion am I? I don't have a fucking religion. Religion was created by man. So when people say, for an example, how do you become sovereign? What's your nationality? See, when a nationality is also a religion. It's just a higher form of religion. So you can't tell me that you're conscious and you let Christianity go, but you have a nationality, because that's another form of religion. Just a higher form. It's just like when you go to school and you go to kindergarten and then you graduate to first grade. The only difference between kindergarten and first grade is just another higher form of education. That's all it is. So we have to stop with the bullshit. Nationality only determines your illusional geographical sovereignty. We must have a spiritual nationality which identifies our geographical, mental, and spiritual sovereignty. So with that much said, this is Osei Kufuor. I love y'all. Get in touch with me if you have any answers. Just call 434-444-8005. Again, the United States of Africa is doing well. To become a part of the United States of Africa, go to unitedafricatreasury.webs.com. Again, it's www.unitedafricatreasury.webs.com. I love y'all. Black Science TV 111. I'm out.